Weekend Bourbon Street looked like this. People packed the streets with a few masks in sight. And Mayor Cantrell said earlier this week that she was going to put a stop to this.
But if you head out there now, you'll see it looks like another busy weekend in New Orleans. Thousands of people pack the streets as local and state leaders make a push for tourism to return safely. Devin Bartolotta has more.
Music came back to Bourbon Street Friday, and the toe tapping was brought about by none other than Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser.
Appreciate y'all being here.
He joined the thousands who have flocked back to the famed street since bars began reopening under Phase 3.2 in New Orleans.
I thought it was important to come out here and thank the visitors, both Louisianans and out-of-towners, for visiting, because they can go anywhere.
But his visit, while handing out Louisiana-branded masks, T-shirts, and hand sanitizer, was in part to personally ask visitors to follow guidelines.
We not only have to make sure it's safe for our residents, but for people to feel comfortable to come to Louisiana, we want them to know we're doing things right, and they can come here, have a good time.
The mayor said signs would be going up along Bourbon Street, encouraging one-way walking traffic and mask wearing.
But as night fell and we got a little break in the rain on Friday, those signs were nowhere to be found, and thousands of people headed out to Bourbon Street.
It looks not so different than last weekend, which left Mayor Cantrell frustrated.
What we saw throughout our city, and particularly on the world stage of Bourbon Street, was unacceptable.
And as elected officials cross their fingers for safe tourism in New Orleans, it's setting up to be another busy weekend in Phase 3.2. In New Orleans, Devin Bartolotta, Eyewitness News.
Tonight, in a statement, the city told us the signage on Bourbon Street will be going up, quote, as soon as possible, but they didn't provide a reason for the delay in getting it up.